Good day everyone. So there is this bizarre idea in the Genshin community's head that anything that is 5-star is not F2P friendly, and 4-star characters and 4-star weapons only is somehow very F2P friendly, and shows you that this game is so super easy and why would you need to waste money on getting 5 stars and all the little good stuff that people say. Well, I want to sort of shatter this reality because honestly, when you are attempting to run in the Spiral Abyss and get good consistent clearing times between patches using only 4-star characters and only 4-star weapons, you need to have most of those 4 stars at C6. You need to have good artifacts, so crit rate and crit damage should at least be 55 to 120. You need 8 of these 4-star characters, and most of the weapons should be at about max refinement. So in my personal opinion, this is not very F2P friendly, and we're going to look at some mathematics to actually sort of back that up. Now, I've covered this sort of topic, the statistical model for Genshin Impact's drop rates in the past on this channel. We haven't really explored the 4-star only sort of situation. We've only focused a lot like on 5 stars, and as I've pointed out in other videos on my channel, understanding things through distributions is ultimately the best way to get acquainted with what the randomness in the game means, whether you're calculating damage, whether you're calculating your pull rates or whatever. Distributions are the way to go. So when it comes to 4-star characters and their drop rates, what should we expect? How reasonable is it for you to have a C6 4-star? Well, this is where things get kind of funky. So if you look here on screen, I've got a little bit of a chart here, and let me sort of read it to you very, very quickly. If you want a specific 4-star on a character banner, it'll take you on average about 36 pulls before you get that specific 4-star. Now, let's be generous here. Let's assume that the person that wants to run the 4-star only teams and 4-star weapons only needs 6 out of the 8 like 4 stars, and they need them at about C6. Well, in order to get all 3 of your 4 stars on a banner at C6 will take you about 334 pulls, whereas for the average that will take you to get a specific 5-star event 5-star character is about 94 pulls. Now, assuming the worst case for the event 5-star characters, you can clearly see that by the time you get all 3 of your 4 stars at C6, you will at least, at the bare minimum, have at least 2 5-star units. And the implications of this are kind of very, very obvious. The idea that 4 stars only is F2P is rubbish, because by the time statistically you get all of your required 4-star characters at the C6 level, you would have already had gotten like a couple of 5-star units that you can use. In fact, it's much more F2P friendly to have at least 1 5-star character and 3 4-star characters on your team. And I want to bring this up because in the past, I used to do things like, for instance, beat the Spiral Abyss with 4-star characters and 4-star only weapons, but a part of me never felt as though that is F2P, because it's not really. It's just me reflecting on how well my counts progress to a point that I can do a challenge like that very, very easily. And it's also when I look at content from, and this is nothing against Sevi, I'm just using her as an example, when she puts up stuff like 4-star teams, I think it is genuinely disingenuous, because what she's showing is something that's relevant to an AR58-59 player and not an AR50 player, for example. And I also want to highlight this fact because a lot of the times people have very weird misconceptions. So in my little video where we corrected Sechef and we used an F2P C0 Nilo team, a lot of people said, well, we don't like your Kokomi because your Kokomi is at C1 and that's not F2P friendly. And yet, if I look at the drop rates, if I look at the parity of strength between 4-star characters and 5-star characters, it's very obvious statistically that getting a 5-star character at C0 or C1 is equivalent to getting 1 or 2 like 4-star characters at C6. So this is the crazy thing. And if you've been someone that's pulled on Kokomi's banners, she's had like her initial run and 2 reruns after that, you would have gotten Bennett, you would have gotten Shingshu or Sukro. So these are good 4-star characters that would have complemented you pulling on Kokomi's banner. In fact, it is entirely reasonable and logical that someone that's pulled on Kokomi's banner just to pick up some of the 4 stars might actually end up with a C1 Kokomi. And this is the crazy thing. When I read comments that say something is not F2P, then there's clear statistical evidence that it can be reasonably F2P. And when I read other comments that forced only weapons and whatever are F2P, then very clearly from a statistical basis it's not. So this is where I kind of often feel like the Genshin community is out of touch with the real statistics. They're out of touch with account progression and the differences. So yeah, obviously if you are someone that's AR50, the team that I ran here with Nilo is not going to work for you. But if you're someone that's AR60, it's definitely going to work for you. And ironically enough, even though I ran my sort of little team here with C0 Nilo, I didn't have my other 4-star characters at C6. I only had them like at C1 or C2, which kind of does show you the power of just using like a C0 Nilo team. But in any case, that's just beside the point. But I think the bigger sort of lesson here is that what seems intuitive, what seems obvious, what seems to be F2P acceptable against the greedy Hoyo whatever company is not always intuitive. And I think the other big thing for me that's not intuitive is the fact that for you to get most of your weapons at max refinement, and most of these are going to be craftable, or most of these you also get from specifically wishing on the banner vest. You can see here the odds of getting specific whatever weapons and so on. The point is, it takes a bit of resources for you to also max out some of these weapons, in which case you can't really say it's a function of being F2P more so than a function of your progression in the game. So is something F2P friendly if you're at AR60 and you've got all these 4-star characters and 4-star weapons? Yes, because that is reasonable at that level. Is it reasonable for someone at AR55 or someone that's just started the Spiral Abyss? No, it's completely disingenuous. And that's kind of the point that I wanted to make today. Alright, that's it from my side. Thanks for watching. Cheers.